This is one of 2 deer tree stands on the property. You can see out of all 4 sides. It just looks like a typical deer stand, which is common for our area. Like I mentioned in the article, you need to try to blend in with your environment as much as possible if you don't want everybody who lives in your vicinity to know that you're a prepper and you have everything they need that they didn't prepare to have for themselves when the shit hits the fan. This is an LPOP, or a listening post observation post. We have one here, and we have another one at the front part of our property facing inward, like you're hunting that hillside. They're not uncommon for our area. They blend in. That they will serve a purpose as a temporary emergency living quarters and an outpost. We also have deer tree stands that are just the chair kind of thing you climb the tree with, that aren't covered like this, in several spots around the property that are more covert. And those are also very common in our area. If you even live in a suburban area and you can't build something like this in your yard because it wouldn't be allowed or it would stand out, you could probably put a deer tree stand up and nobody would notice it. They come in camouflage collars. That would at least give you a higher vantage point to look around your neighborhood. It wouldn't give you some living quarters for somebody to stay there if they had to. No sense of bearing a cache around it, but it would give you some observation area that you would definitely need. Another option you could go would be build a children's playhouse if you have children or grandchildren, and it could serve as your LPOP and blend in with your environment. We have a playhouse we built on the property, and it is for the kids to play in, but it also offers a vantage point from the middle of the property to the hillside above where I'm standing now. So you want, even if your property is smaller, you need to have clear lines of sight and a quick way to respond, radioing back to others who are on the perimeter defense team what is going on in one particular area. You want to make sure you can see all 4 sides and know what is going on, not just on your property, but on the properties or roadways around you. This is another outpost on our survival prepping retreat. It also serves as a campground for tribe members. When a disaster does strike, there'll be many more campers and tents down here. But it serves as a lookout for this ravine area here. The people, if they were intruders, would have had to have gone a half a mile through the woods, multiple layers of fencing, multiple gates, rugged terrain, and natural fencing with berry bushes and other things that will prick your eyes out, besides fighting the grapevine, which is hurt you when you get hit in the head with those on a 4-wheeler ATV. There's no way to get up through this area of the property on an ATV or 4-wheeler. If you don't currently live on your survival prepping retreat or your bug out retreat and you're looking for some, this type of terrain should really help you know what to look for when you're looking at land. The more rugged the terrain, the better. As long as you have a 4-wheel drive or ATVs to get you around if you have to work off the property, or take your kids to government school if you're not homeschooling. You want the land to play in your favor to make you as difficult to get to as possible and to keep what you're doing as far from view as possible. This ravine goes all the way around, kind of like a triangle shape, all in front of the tribe campground here. And from that point, you can hear or walk to the tip and look around and see what's going on. My daughter accidentally wrecked the 4-wheeler and jumped off before it went over onto a ravine that's a little bit further up near our home sites, and came down into this area off to the left here. And it took her husband, my husband, and a buddy about 3 hours with chainsaws and a winch to finally maneuver a way to get it around, and that was with lifting it and carrying it over several spots. So it's beautiful and rugged getting up through here. This whole area you see, there's just no way you're going to be able to get from the front end of the property up to here on any kind of equipment. It would have to be on foot. So you want to look for something with a 1 road in, 1 road out, and not easily at all passable by an ATV. You could get through here on horseback, depending on your horse and what quality of a rider you are. I have ridden my horse through here, but not the entire place, because ravines are so steep. You would need a footbridge to get across them. I mean, they're 4 to 6 feet across in lots of places. You got a jumper horse, you would be okay, but I could meander around one way or the other and get up here. If I went up on the hillside and came back down, I could get from the front of the property to here without going on our road, but I could not do it through this ravine section. I would have to go way over that way and up the hill right by one of our LPOP spots and come within view of the LPOP that is serving as a auxiliary lookout there by the barn in that old camper that I showed you. So it would not be easy to do undetected, even on a horse. I'm now going to show you something that you can't see. You could get right up on it and not be able to see it, and that's the point. Yeah, there are caches buried up there. It's a LPOP and, most importantly, a sniper post. It is very low to the ground. It is camouflaged. It is built into a rock formation in the hillside so that somebody could be there and not be seen at all. It gives them the vantage point of our road that's half a mile long that goes up to the house. They have full range of motion to take somebody down if they came that way, and it was placed where it is, most importantly, to create a bottleneck coming up from the creek. The line of sight from where that post is will take you around. You'll see here in a minute an experienced firearms individual will be able to get somebody in range well before they even make it to this corner down here in the opening. And it creates a bottleneck if somebody gets past the first line of defense of the road. They get past the second line of defense of the creek. They get just past that creek and they are in range. And I think that I'm going to put up a no trespassing sign in the creek, followed by one that says you are now in range. We had an unwanted visitor the other day. I think they were trying to case our place, thinking nobody was home because several cars had left, which isn't usually what happens. And it was friends of people across the street, and the teenager and his buddy have been known for thieving before, and they had problems with the owners here, prior owners on this property, to the point where a restraining order was issued. So I think they were trying to sell something to come up to the property. They hadn't tried that since the first 2-3 weeks that we moved in here, and thought they would go ahead and give another shot, I'm assuming, thinking that we were not home. I made it clear that I didn't need to buy what they had, and they were not to come back up. In no uncertain terms. So I thought it took a whole lot of nerve to open a gate and come on up through in a car. I knew they were coming. By the time they hit this corner, I could hear the noise and the gravel, and I was outside with my rifle and waiting because there was nobody due to come in that gate. Now, in non-typical times, they would never have been able to get across the creek. Being undetected, they wouldn't have gotten up here to this corner spot, but they did because it was typical times and the shit has not hit the fan. So those are things that you need to think about. Intruders coming around, looking around, knowing what you have well before that the shit hits the fan. Curious, nosy neighbors, people who might be roaming the countryside looking for somebody gone during the day to come up and steal something. Even if you're there and they don't get anything, they make an excuse for coming on your property. They've seen what you have, and I guarantee you somebody like that is going to remember it for when they're desperate.